thank you for giving this big talk. I choose this topic because we are going to open Jewel next week. And what you should have some background, not just the Jewel, but Changi Airport. Interestingly, I tried to find out, just before I came, how often do Singaporeans travel overseas? Anybody know? The statistic is last year, 5.2 times. 5.2 times we Singaporeans travel out. How often does an American travel? Less than 2 times. That's because only 36% of Americans hold a passport. I try to find out how many percent of Singaporeans hold a passport. Everybody answered, but the last percentage. So if we are traveling so much, how much do we know about the airports that we run in Singapore? Which is proclaimed to be the best airport in the world 590 times since we opened. So I wanted to give a good understanding of the audience of the airports that we serving Singapore. Well, at the same time, the starting point is the aviation industry, that means the industry that involves traveling, is booming. It's booming, and I'll give you some statistics. But the world in general is very short of airport. And I'll give you some statistics that I'll give you how short they are. But very often you go to an international airport, they're always under renovation, they're always expanding. And still, they're not enough. Aviation infrastructure, that is airports, is a very key infrastructure for development. It bridges us to the world and the world to us. How do we connect ourselves with the world? I mean, if you are going between America or between China, you can go by train. But if you need to connect to the world, you have no choice. Air transport is the only sensible way to reach the world. And it's also the only way the world can reach us. So how big is the aviation industry globally in the world? In 2017, 4.1 billion people are traveling. 4.1 billion. And this is the statistics from IATA, the Travel Association. And they say that in 2037, 8.2 billion people, the world population today is only 7 billion, but 8.7 billion people will be flying in the air. You imagine 8 over billion people floating in the air, they need an airport. Okay? This is the realistic of the statistics. Now, why has that happened? Why suddenly a boom, you know? In the past, say in America, they rely on train, then later on high-speed train, roads and all that. But once you go internationally, you need. So globalization, that means trading globalization, needs connectivity. We need to be connected. Second point is the countries, developing countries like China, India, and Southeast Asia, the middle income is growing. The middle income population is growing, and their wealth are growing. So when their wealth are growing and more people become middle income, they travel. Right? Third point is low-cost carrier. Now it's very cheap. LCC, budget, I mean, they call themselves low-cost carriers. Budget travel, right? Very cheap to travel from Singapore. $100 you go to so many places around Singapore. $200 you can go very far. Right? So low-cost carrier broke the ground for us to travel. Lastly, of course, aviation technology. We have long range. You can fly to San Francisco. You can fly to LA, one flight. Okay. Surprisingly, not too expensive. Yeah? I think it's $1,000 you can get an econ class to go to LA. Come back, but choose the right timing. The wrong timing, your air ticket is going to be more expensive. I can't be held responsible, but right timing, book 6 months ahead, it can be very economical to fly to the US. So these 4 factors increase the propensity to travel by us. But interestingly, say in 1996, before the Asian crisis, all the top airports are in America and Europe. There are basically only 3 airports in Asia that are busy. Okay, Hong Kong, I think Shanghai, and Tokyo. But in 2016, all the top airports, the top 20 airports shifted to here, shifted to Asia. because Asia is growing. And of all the factors I discussed, the population traveling in Asia is very vast. And the Asia's share of the global seat capacity means how much share Asia occupied in seats of the aircraft grows from 27 to 38%. Almost 40% of the seats globally is in Asia. And if you look at you look at the top largest passenger market, US is now number one, China, UK, Japan, Spain, all that. So a lot of them are still Western countries. But by 2036, China is number one, US number two, India, UK. So the top 5 airports will be in Asia, the top 5. So we occupy the top 5 of, except for America, because America has a lot of domestic flight. They are much more traveling than Asia, but still the top 5 will be in Asia. But you look at the China market, I'm very amazed because we always say before, China will have 100 million passengers by 2020, 100 million. But by 2017, they already have 130 million outbound, traveling out from China. And there is only 8.7% have passport. If they have 17%, which they say by 2020 they will have, you will have 240 million Chinese traveling out of China. And the Chinese are spending the most. In Changi Airport, they're the highest spending. They don't fly first class, they don't stay in Four Seasons, but they spend more money buying things and eating. So big boost to our economy. Don't chase them away, huh? Some people say we don't like Chinese tourists, but they spend in Singapore much, 2.5 times more than the average. If you take the average international passengers, the Chinese passengers travel 2.5 times, spend 2.5 times more because they buy things. They buy electronics, they buy watches, so they spend a lot of money for us to grow our economy. So help them to come. But ironically, we have very few airports. So if you look at, this is a very interesting slide I want to show. America, okay? America only have got population of 320 million people. America has a population of, say, 320 million. They have 1,000 over airport, 1,002. But USA itself, sorry, this is North America. USA itself, 900 over. 900, with 320 million people, they have 900 over airports. But ASEAN, with 370, which is about 1/3 of them, has got how many airports? 370. ASEAN has 660 million people, right? 660 million people have only 300 over airports. China has got 1.3 billion people, they have only 229. So they are 4 times the population, but they are 1/3 the number of airports. So China is very short of airport because China has been building roads, bridges, and high speed, but no flying. Right? They now have to rush to cash in. So you look at this, ASEAN population is 639, 2 times the population of Asia. So all these statistics show that Asia countries, they are growing, are very, very short of airport. And they didn't realize it until last 2 years. They started to quickly crash into building airports. But many airports, there are 55 mega cities, big cities, 55 of them. 47 are capacity constrained. That means out of the 55 big cities, 47 of them are capacity constrained. Capacity constrained means not enough runway, taxiway, and terminal. So you can see the seriousness of the problem. And for the top 100 airports in Asia, if you take Asia top 100 airports, 52% will require more terminal capacity. They need to build more terminal and bigger terminal, 52%. And 69% requires more taxiways and runway. A lot more to build. If they were to cater for the 8.2 billion passengers in 20 years' time. It's very grim. But if you look at the industry itself, what does the whole global industry mean economically? It is a $660 billion economy. I mean, industry. $660 billion US dollars industry. It's the size of the Switzerland GDP. Switzerland is a big country GDP, but it is roughly 2 times our Singapore economy. Is the industrial size, the size of the economy. But what does that mean? It supports 62.7 million jobs. These are the breakdown. Tourism, induced, direct, aviation direct, indirect, aviation direct. So 67 million jobs in the world is supported by airport industry, airline industry. Global GDP is 3.5% of it. The economic impact is 2.7 trillion. Okay? 2.7 trillion, $2,700 billion economy. So it's a big economy and it will grow. I said booming. But building an airport is a very capital intensive and very complex task. I make a lecture recently. I said building an airport is the most complex public infrastructure you can ever think of. It's not the LRT station. It's not the MRT station. It's not the power station. It's airport. It's the most complex and capital intensive, right? I mean, I can do a full day lecture on this subject, but airport is a big system of systems. You have many systems, then you have a big system to control the small system. So I can go to time talking about it, but anyway, you can imagine whether it's a control tower, whether it's a bag handling system, flight information system, cargo handling system. We have to cater for a wide range of systems to make an airport run well. It takes a long time to plan, design, and build. So in airport infrastructure, we must be ahead of time. And I came up with this thinking. Economists will disagree with me. Economists say demand drives supply. I say supply can drive demand. The more you build, the more they will come. That's the philosophy we have. And I show you the picture of, this picture is in 1970 something. 75 we started, okay? 1975 we started to build this. This is the British runway, okay? And I was an engineer building this. And we have to extend 2,000 meters to make it 4,000 meters. Widen it, strengthen it. Anyway, the boundary of Changi is actually somewhere like this. 70% of these are reclaimed land. It's a huge reclaimed land. We do a lot of continuous pumping of sand to reclaim the area, build this airport. In 1975, May, we started. Exactly 81, July the 1st, one night we shift from Paya Lebar to Changi. One night. Right? One night. You know, you see a lot of Heathrow Airport, they delay for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's still not ready, and then the baggage all hang up. But we shift one night. July the 1st, 1981, we were operating in Changi. We're very proud of this. And we have done the 4 terminals without delay, without cost overrun, without problem. So I want you to be proud of Singapore Airport. Today, you will see this airport infrastructure, but a better plan, you will see this. Okay, in Paya Lebar, just for record, in 1970, only 4 million passengers. 4 million. 1981, 8 million passengers. But we know that if we don't give Changi, Paya Lebar, the new terminal, the new second terminal, will be bang. I mean, we won't have an air hub. So we must build it in time. So in 81, we had 8 million passengers. Today, last year, we did 65.6 million passengers. 65.6. Whereas when we first started, it was only 8 million. How many times multiple? Right? That shows how fast the aviation is growing. So you can see, Terminal 1 is here. This is runway 2. This is runway 1, of course. Terminal 2, Terminal 3. Oh, sorry, this is runway 1. Excuse me. This is runway 2. Terminal 4 we just finished last 17 November. And we're now going to build Terminal 5. We will discuss it more. So 81, master plan, we will have 60, today we have 65.5. Just to give you a recall, this Terminal 1 is still the largest terminal. We built this for the first phase. Then Terminal 2, I was directly involved. I was head of this project. Then Terminal 3, I was then the chairman. And Terminal 4, 1 year ago. Our total capacity is 85 million passengers per year, which is how many times our population. Our population is 5 million, but that's the capacity. But today, 65 million people is passing by, right? And actually today, if you go to the airport at even 12 o'clock in the evening, very crowded. You go to peak hours in the morning, it's very crowded. You try to sit in a buggy to buggy you, impossible. So I'm not sure how we can last until 10 years later, we get Terminal 5 ready. So hopefully we can cater. So, okay. We are saying by 2030, just for your background, we will add another 50 million passengers per annum to Changi. That's T5. Then we will have 135 million passengers per annum. But this 50 million can go to 75 million. I can build some more because it's modular. So no worry, if we go up to that, we will build more. But it's not about hardware, but it's about software. I spoke at the CNA interview yesterday. It's no point having the best terminal, the best runway, but your software means your systems, your processors, and your people are screwed up. You can't serve. Right? So the software have to support the hardware we are doing. We can have very precision, efficiency handling of passengers. We must have world-class hospitality. We treat the airport as hospitality, as hotel, right? Then you get it right. If we treat it as just transport, Tumpang go somewhere, then you don't get it right. So we have to have good passengers experience. It's very important why people are happy coming back to Changi. I think you all know, you come back to Singapore, you say back to civilization, right? But you have to be business-friendly, efficient cargo. You have to be uncompromising safety and security standard. Security is very important. Safety is very important. Air transport is very, very safe. Many times safer than road transport. Okay, don't worry about the 737 MAX coming down. But we are much more safer than road transport than that. I got some statistics, but we are very, very safe. The trouble is when it happens, it's very unforgiving. It's tragic. It's not frequent. It's very, very infrequent. One in don't know how many millions I can say. But it's very unforgiving. It's going to hit us very badly. So we have to be very sure about safety. And to me, the role of an airport to a country is it gives you the first impression and the last impression of the country, the city, right? If a city is well run, like you go to Haneda, which is number 2 now in Japan, you know it's well run. You know the city in Tokyo is well run. Right? I met a writer, a British writer. He traveled around the world to look at airport efficiency and all that. And his thesis is that if the airport is run well, the city will be good, worth investing. It's a new thesis. I say, you visit the airport, you make sure that you understand how it's run, how the toilets are being run, how the passengers are being treated, then you will know that that is a good city. But I want you to understand that there's many people confuse us with many things. Changi Airport Group is a company now. It's not a government department. I am chairman of a company, not a government department, that develop and manage Changi Airport. Ministry of Finance finance it. We built it. The group, Changi Airport Group, built it and operates it. It's different from CAS, which is then now a statutory board to regulate. They are the regulator of civil aviation. It used to be combined. Right? It used to be called CAAS, and I was in 2005 the chairman of both CAS. But in 2009, the government decided that we should have a company to run the operation and develop it, and a government step board to regulate it. In fact, that was the idea of Prime Minister Lee. So understand this first. It's two different things. Don't confuse CAS with Changi Airport. But more people confuse worse. They think we are SQ. Sometimes they ask me, what discount do you get? And I give a talk one day in a community center. One woman came to me with a young boy. He says, "Sir, can you get my son a job in SQ as a pilot?" I say, "I got nothing to do with SQ. Right? SQ is a listed company, you know." He said, you sure you can get him a job in SQ as a pilot?" So today is still a lot of misunderstanding that we are the airport and therefore we are SQ, we are SATS, but no, we are just running the airport. But more importantly, understand this. SATS is a company that do ground handling. Anything, baggage handling, SATS, and they are Danata. And the airline, there are many, not just SQ, school, many airlines. But you have security, which is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. It's not directly under us. And then you have ICA, Immigration and Control. ICA is authority, they make sure there is immigration and checkpoint, right? It's a different organization. And of course, then you have all the people who run the store. So in the airport house ecosystem, there are many things which are not us. But what happened is something goes wrong, they say, you. They point the finger at you, right? They get stopped by immigration or a nasty immigration officer, they think it's Changi Airport. The custom got delayed, or they say it's Changi Airport. Even the baggage system, when it's late, it's not Changi Airport, but we have to be responsible. Then we will go and scold SATS people. But we monitor them. And I will tell you, they respond well. We want the first bag out within 12 minutes. First bag out. Very often, you go down there, the bag is out. First bag out, 12 minutes. Right? We are on the dot 98%. We monitor every time, first bag out, what timing. So we are 98% accurate in our first bag out. But if you ever get delayed, please understand the situation, because the delay is caused by, you know what? Thunder and lightning. When there is rain, thunder and lightning, the baggage handler cannot go out and carry the bag. So they have to wait for the thunder and lightning to finish. And the union won't allow them because it's life endangering. And I also wouldn't want to go and push them to go out. So understand that sometimes there's delay because there's thunder, there's lightning. And you may not know, Singapore is the highest lightning and thunder rates in the world. Surprising, huh? We have the highest frequency and rates of thunder and thunder and lightning in the world. So very often it happens, and therefore it hits us. So this is God's will. You know, there's nothing we can do. Now I give you a summary of what Changi Airport is today. A summary. We have 65 million passengers in 2018. We have 7,400 flights every week. Every 80 seconds, we have one flight. Before you count 1 minute, we have one flight out or one flight in. Every 80 seconds, remember, we have one flight. This is a lot of flight to handle. We have 2 million tons of cargo. This is very interesting. We have 100 airlines connecting to more than 400 cities. So from Singapore, you can go to 400 cities in the world. So we are very connected. That's what we want. Connectivity is key to our economic growth. If you are not connected, you are dead. That's our thesis. We are today the 7th busiest international airport in the world. Heathrow is the international airport, that means international passengers. We are number 7. Heathrow is number 1. We are 9th busiest airport in cargo. And you know, since 1981, we won 590 Best Airport Award. So we don't call ourselves Best Airport Award, we call it Most Awarded Airport. Right? Because every year we will win 20, 25 awards, sometimes 30 awards by different agencies. Skytrack is one. So Skytrack, I think 2 weeks ago, we are 7 years consecutive top airport. Skytrack is the most famous. But the very old-fashioned but traditional one is British Traveller. British Traveller magazine rates our airport 29 years consecutive best airport. 29 consecutive years. So we talk about airports, we are full of superlatives. People think we are very axy, tell all these things, but it's facts. But what is Changi today? We have, interestingly, 92,000 square meter of shopping space. 92,000. That means almost 1 million square feet of shopping space. We have 388 stores. This is excluding Jewel. We have 129 F&B outlets and a variety of labels. Our style is, you want to come into the airport, you must bring in something new. Either you are a new retailer or you are not a new retailer, but you bring in new product, new offering. So and you pay a lot of money. The highest rental leasing rate in Singapore is Changi Airport. I won't dare to tell you how high it is, but I can tell you that, for example, the concession who runs the whiskey and the cosmetic, $100 million paid to us every year, of hundreds of million dollars, concession, rental. So we make a lot of money out of them. Retail, we are $2.8 billion. That means we do 2.8 billion of retail sales. Right? I used to run CapitaLand shopping mall. 19 shopping mall I used to run. This is 75% of CapitaLand mall. We only one airport. 75% of all the 19 malls that we do. Every day we do about 167 transactions. 167,000 of sales transactions. Like this is very interesting. On the average, we sell 1.8 bottles of perfume. Million bottles. Who is buying them? Million bottles. I don't know how many of you buy perfume, but almost 2 million bottles. 8.7 million bottles of liquor. We don't talk about tobacco because the government is not supporting. Tobacco also a lot. But chocolates is amazing, right? 8.4 million boxes, $101 million sales of chocolates are being sold in Changi Airport. 101 million. It's unbelievable, right? And then we have duplex. This is the first airport to have a duplex, that means 2 levels of shopping. First airport to have this. But some airport now imitate already. This is shocking, right? We sold 2 bottles of whiskey, 350,000 Sing dollars. 2 bottles. One bottle is 100. One bottle is. We sold 2 bottles of it. 700,000 whiskey to a Chinese traveler. I still couldn't understand who would buy $350,000 invested in a bottle of whiskey. He bought 2 bottles. Yeah. 2 bottles. I don't know how many liters is there, I must find out. Let me see. How much can he drink? I can't even remember. But this is special. I always like to show, nobody believe it, but we did show it. And then cosmetic and perfume, of course, is a very big thing. And people didn't realize, I think some of you may not know, there are a lot of these things in Changi Airport. Facial and massage service for traveler. You can go there early and do your massage, facial as well as body massage. You can have skincare consultation, hand massage, fresh makeover, whatever. I don't understand this, but but all these services are available at the airport when you can spend your time there leisurely. And they can do online, offline to online. You can go online, buy your stuff, pay online, collect at the airport. Or come back, then you collect. So very easy, right? Now, the Prime, Changi Airport, this is the Jewel. In the heart of Changi. So just to explain, this is Terminal 1, this is Terminal 2, this is Terminal 3, right? And we built this thing, and I tried to explain at the CNA interview. It was formerly a car park. It's a car park which is sunken. Why is it sunken? Because the Prime Minister said, when I drive to airport, I don't want a car to block the view of Terminal 1. So we sunken it 3 meters. Give me a lot of problem because the thing became a swimming pool if it's blocked. But we built the sunken car park. And it was for a open car park. Some of you remember you park your car there. They charge you $1.20. Okay, big deal. Now it's $2.40 before it is. But that piece of land, 3 hectares, 3 hectares. My CEO who came on board, the current CEO says, Chairman, we are having this piece of land, what can we do? Can we do something? And we initiated this idea of building a shopping mall, not a shopping mall, a jewel. We call it a jewel. And I'll explain what is it. And today, it is 1.5 million square feet of space. We spend $1.7 billion on it. But it's a lot of things you will see. Don't miss the chance, go and see. Free. We don't charge you. Not moving? Yeah. So you can see that you can walk through from Terminal 1. So last time Terminal 1 you walk out is a road, right? Now you can walk into Jewel. You can walk in from Terminal 2 or Terminal 3. Or the train will cut through. This train will cut through. So there are 2 ways you can walk through Terminal 1, 2, 3, or you go by train. But you got to see, you got to go there to feel the experience. See how we can go through. But schematically, it's like this. We built 5 levels down. Okay, from the car park, we built 5 levels down, and we have now, instead of 850, we have 2,500 car park lots, right? 4 times, 3 times, so that there is no such thing as not enough car park lots. And then on top, we built 5-story of facility, and I'll explain to you what are these 5-story. So first, we have this world tallest waterfall, 40 meters down. 40 meters down waterfall. Very majestic. Okay? And then it has light and sound around the fountain that you can say also a message, happy birthday or whatever it is. But we are not going to do that. We're going to make money out of that. Later on you will see. And then we have what they call a forest valley. These are all forested with 2,200 trees. Some of them are expensive trees. Some of them cost thousands of dollars. 2,200 trees and 100,000 shrubs, shrubs. 100,000. And we have 2 walking trails to enjoy. Forest bathing. People go to Japan for forest bathing. Now you can go to Jewel for forest bathing. Right? Forest bathing is, I do forest bathing in Japan, in some countries. It's very good. Take my advice, go and try. You want to relax, walk through forest, it's very good. Now you can do it in Jewel. But I didn't create this for myself. And then you have this thing called a canopy park, where you have 14,000 world-class attraction, the garden. Very tall thing. You have a hedge maze, you have mirror maze, you have bouncing net. Go and try it. Your children will love it. Right? So one mental health. And then we have, of course, retail, establishment, 70% of F&B, and cycle the forest reserve, first in Southeast Asia, first in Singapore concept. So a lot of things to do. Then we have aviation facility. There's a park there where you can do your early check-in. You can check in 24 hours, any airline. The trouble now today in a lot of airports, they chase you out of the hotel at 12 o'clock, right? Then you go to the airport, they're not ready to check you in because of flight at night. So what they do is the luggage, left luggage. I experienced this operation difficulty. You get checked out, you go to the airport, where you put your luggage. So this time in Jewel, you can check in. Even though your flight is late at night, just check in. They will bring you to your airlines. So these are very big features for us. Then you have a fly cruise. And then we have a hotel. We have a airport hotel, 100 over rooms. Very nice room, the bathrooms and all that. So you can sleep. I mean, people can sleep for tomorrow's flight. But some Singaporeans already told me they were going to book the hotel with their children, stay vacation. They stay there for one night, then next morning get breakfast, let the kids run around one whole day, enjoy the thing, and then go home. Stay vacation. But I tell you, one day is not enough, so you will stay 3 days. Serious. The number of restaurants down there is just mind-boggling. I mean, I'm not marketing it. I ran there and looked at it. There are 2 Michelin-star restaurants. One Putian and one don't know what. And Shangri-La has the first time gone into F&B, 60,000 square feet. You know how much 60,000 square feet? Normal restaurant is 2,000, 3,000 square feet. They have 60,000 square feet. You have Chinese tapas, dim sum, and then you have lunch, and then you have fine dining. You can really feast down there. And there are so many other restaurants that you will really, really enjoy. I mean, I don't have to go anywhere now to eat, to go down there. And downstairs is a food court, also very good food court. And there is this net that you can go on top and jump. I tried it, it's not easy to jump, but and it's all the way down, very scary. But don't worry, there's a safety net. It's very, very interesting. It's one of a kind in Asia. This style of net, sky net. And then you have this bridge that walk across, and below is a glass. So you get a bit scary when you walk across because it's all glass bottom. You're looking down. Just to create the height. Okay, finish with Jewel. Go and see it. It's going to be open 17, but it's going to be very crowded. My biggest problem is how to manage the crowd. Now, just to find out, we also have Changi Airport business overseas. We have a Changi Airport International that invests in airport overseas, that also does operation management, design and construction. So we do all these things with our capability overseas. We have 5, just for information, we have 5 airports in Russia. Sochin, which is for the Olympic game, Vladivostok, which is at the far end of the world, 5 airports in Russia. We have a very big airport in Rio de Janeiro, which we help them for the Olympic Games. We have airports in China, India. We just secure Fukuoka, Kyushu. We own 26% of it. And Philippines, we have one in Clark City. We probably will get the Manila Airport. So because of our success in Changi, we are very sought after as a partner to improve airport, to build airport, to invest in airport. So we have, to date, we have 50 airports in 20 countries, all over. We have done projects. So I want to make some conclusion remark just to bring home the point. I make this point that Changi Airport is economic strategy. It's no longer just air transport, it's our economic strategy. It's one of our bloodstream. Without the airport, it will not flow. So bear in mind, it's not just air transport, but it's an economic strategy. But to maintain our competitive position as a hub, we need 2 things. We need to build ahead of schedule. That's why we are building D5. People ask, why are we building D5? We are so big, 65 million, but you will get. I can tell you one story. When we built Changi Airport in 1975, we planned for 30 million passengers, right? And there was a senior minister who said, you can never get 30 million passengers. You only have 8 million passengers. How do you go to 30? If you ever go to 30 million passengers per year, all your children will be bellboys and porters to serve the airport. But 30 million passengers, we achieved that many years ago. I think 2004, is it? 2004, we reached 30 million passengers. Today, we are 65.6 million. When we first started talking about 30 million, they say you're joking. But today, we are 60 over. And we are talking about reaching 135 million. Today, I'm not sure how we can cope. From now to 10 years, we will finish in 10 years' time. Whether the airport will be choked up or not. Today, it's really quite busy. I can tell you when I go to the airport at night, even at 1 o'clock, it's very busy in Terminal 3. Morning, of course, is very busy. So the question is, how do we sustain the next 10 years? But we are now expanding Terminal 1. We are expanding Terminal 2 to give us another 8 million passengers so that we can cope. So, and we have to have the best software, systems and processes. Passengers will be very critical. I give you some statistics. We have an average of 180,000 passengers every day. Every day, 180 passengers pass through. Right? If I have 1% problem, 1,008 people will complain to me. If I have half a percentage problem, 900 passengers are unhappy with me. How to cope? Right? You have to make sure that not 900 passengers are unhappy. Otherwise, they will write you down and all this. So it's a very stringent requirement to have the best services. So every time management, including the chairman, I walk around, if I see something wrong, take photograph, send to management. We ourselves are the inspectors of the building. We must be that way. Otherwise, you can never get your best airport award. Not that it's that important, but you want the passengers to say that. Recently, there was somebody who complained to me about she was not handling well when she buys something for China, for Changi rewards. No, Changi travel. Changi travel. She buys a SIM card, it's not working. Complain. I say, okay. I get them to work, send back to them money and all that. Oh, she's very happy now. Somebody from Paris complained that, oh, your security, big problem. You know, she's one of the models, complaining at the security. And then she claimed that she's a good friend of the ambassador in France, our ambassador here. But actually, I checked the ambassador here, he said, I don't know her. But we attended to her and make her happy, right? So whether they drop names or not doesn't matter. She is unhappy. She is unhappy. So we have to make them happy by not the service, by the offering, by the restaurants, by the retail, by the entertainment, and now Jewel. Right? We have to make them happy. I want to add one statement, but it's not in the slides. I said all these Changi Airport happened to us is we are lucky. We are lucky because of one man, not Liew Mun Leong, Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew, our founder, Prime Minister says, we were building Changi Airport, we were building the new terminal in Paya Lebar. I was there as an engineer. We were building the second runway in Paya Lebar. I was doing the resettlement for Paya Lebar. I was doing the payment of the Paya Lebar. But what happened? Paya Lebar has a lot of problems. You have geotechnical problem. You have squatters problem. We had 11,000 squatters along the side of the second runway. But more importantly, you build the second runway in Paya Lebar, you are dead because of the height restriction and the noise. Because of the height restriction and noise, you will never have Tampines Town. You will never have Punggol and all that because of the height restriction. We are in an island, and Paya Lebar is in one corner island. Once you build the second terminal and second runway there, you will not have all these development. So Lee Kuan Yew was very smart. Although he is not an engineer, we have all the experts, right? I was a young engineer, not expert, but we have a lot of experts who says, oh, we can build this. And we have already started building. We already spent 800 million Sing building new stuff. 800 million Sing is today $3 billion. We already spent the money. But our Prime Minister says, he flew over Boston Airport. Boston Airport is built offshore, along the coast, extending along the coast. And he says, if you build an airport along the coast, offshore, you can build many runways. And you are not affecting the island of Singapore. We came back and he says, move, change back to Changi. And there were a lot of resistance because civil servants already started building it. They don't want to admit they have done something wrong, right? I mean, I'm one of them, but... So he, as a layman, said, we built it in Changi, you have no problem like this. We have spent $800 million, never mind, go there. He persuaded the civil servant, he didn't persuade, he cajoled them. But actually what he did was, the civil servant was putting spana. And he has to convince them. So he got 3 wise men, we call them wise men. Hao Yun Chong, Teh Cheng Wan, Woon Wah Siang. Hao Yun Chong was chairman of PSA, Teh Cheng Wan was chairman of CEO of HDB, Woon Wah Siang was chairman of Jurong. They are all big guys in civil service doing development. He said, okay, 3 of you going to study. Can we build it in Changi? I mean, the biggest question then was the civil servant and some MP says, the PWD will not be able to build such a big airport on reclaimed land. Because the PWD, I was in PWD, Public Works Department, in case some of you don't know. We only build roads, schools, and pump hospitals and all that. How can you build an airport like this? They can never do it, they can never do it in time. So Hao Yun Chong did the study and said, no, they can do it and they can do it in time. And we did it in time, right? July the 1st, we moved there. So he broke the ice. But my main point is, frankly, until today, really, if we don't have Lee Kuan Yew, you will never have Changi Airport. You will never have Changi Airport built where Changi is. You have airports in Paya Lebar that will not be world-class or the best airport for many years to come. I stop here, and I'm quite happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Liew, for your sharing. I'm actually going to Jewel tomorrow for the preview, so I'm quite excited.
Wear rubber shoes, don't wear.
My question is, do you have a sense of what is the economic impact from Jewel, whether it be in terms of incremental retail revenue, or is it incremental passenger growth that it might bring in?
There will be big increment in retail, because as I said, we have 280 outlets, 70% retail, 30% F&B. So there will be a big boost. So the sales revenue will come through to us. But to me, the reason for Jewel is not economics, it's strategic. It's one of the strategy for the air hub. You see, for air hub to happen, you need things to keep you occupied. But we want Jewel to say, oh, I want to transit in Changi. Some people deliver, it's true, some people deliver plan 6 hours transit just to go through the airport without Jewel. That's time without Jewel. So the Jewel strategy is not a financial strategy. It's a strategy to bring and make sure that we retain the air hub status of Changi. Very important. In fact, to be frank, when we first proposed this, a lot of government ministry put spanners in it. Oh, you need traffic jam to be solved. You need more manpower to pay for the to run your retail. URA will say, why are you building a mall in the airport? Every ministry puts spanner. We have to go to the Prime Minister and Cabinet to get it approved. And the Prime Minister said, we'll do it as a leap of faith. Today, every ministry says it's a wonderful thing. So it's more strategy rather than commercial. But people used to tell me, why don't you put it in the REITs?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the question, monetize the 3 terminals to fund the other terminals.
Yeah, I know this question is a very common question. But in today's context, listen, I have run 10 listed companies in my life. CapitaLand and all the companies are listed companies. I run them. I know what is it like to run a listed company. We think that by putting it into a listed company, you lose control. Because, let's face it, every person who buy a REIT or buy a share in a commercial company, they want returns. They won't do something called strategy, control, national asset, right? So, insofar as Singapore part can afford to do it without privatizing it, as a chairman, I say no. Because once you are in the hands of private, you go to AGM and say, oh, you can't do this. I run a listed company, they'll tell you, we can't do this. We don't approve it. If we want to do something like a Jewel, would you think they approve it? Because they don't see the strategy of it. They don't see the long-term vision of it. So as far as Singapore government is able to give us some grants, give us some loan, and we take some loans or some grants, some borrowing from the capital market. And the capital market is more than happy to give us the bond. The capital market will love to give us a lot of various versions of financing that will need to surrender our shareholding rights. So that's the main reason.
I have another question with regard to the ultra long haul routes, right? Do we have any calibrated approach in addressing the issue of ultra long haul routes?
They started with Qantas going direct from Australia, but what I expect to happen, it may not be so successful. Because to me, to take a very 18 hours flight, I don't think it's a long-term thing. I will never fly to New York direct. I take a break at Frankfurt, have my breakfast, bathe, go again. It's not healthy, it's not sustainable.
When the novelty effect is gone, have you any plan to refresh Jewel?
Let me answer your question more as a developer. Right? When you develop something, you always have to refresh. No running away. Right? You always got to refresh the feature. Whether you build Raffles City anywhere, after a few years, you have to refresh. But the second point is, that's the very reason why I say we have a lot of greens. You will never get fed up of green, will you? Because you have forests. Do you get fed up of walking in the park because of the forest? You don't, right? So that's very second point. The third point is, you must always maintain the level of services in the restaurants, in the outlet, and even in the retail, which is why we keep on, you notice in the airport, retail, they have turnover. Because the moment they are selling the same shoes and shops, they will have to reach. So the turnaround of offerings has to be there. We maintain the forest well, we maintain the system well, but more importantly, yes, we will always look at new offerings, new attraction. Attraction will have to be renewed. How does Disneyland maintain Disneyland is there for what, 80, 100 years. Grandfather go there, grandchildren now going there. How does Disneyland do that? And we're learning from Disneyland. We must learn from Disneyland how they maintain it, right? So we will have to keep that momentum. The moment we don't keep up, be relevant to our customer, to our passengers, you're done. That's our philosophy. Well, thank you for pointing it out. We are aware of that. And,
in the context of Changi Airport growth, how important do you think is for the on-the-ground people so that 20, 30 years down the road, Changi Airport still remains relevant, remains competitive?
Well, the ground people is something that I always make this point. A lot of senior people, a lot of CEOs, they will say, human beings, human capital is our asset, but it's on the lips. How many of them really walk around and know the people they are operating? So one of my basic philosophy is, I know my ground people, frankly, quite well, and I enjoy them. You must enjoy them. And many people say, how do you make them happy? How do you make them follow you? That's another discussion. But you must make sure that, because whatever we want to do has to be done by people. Let's face it. It's not going to be done by you. You want to do this, but who is going to do it? Some people. But make sure you get the right people. Make sure they are motivated. Make sure they are rewarded. But if there are crises, make sure you look after them. During financial crisis, 2008, I never do a single retrenchment. Not like some company, retrench. You know what we did? In a town hall meeting, I said to them, cut salary. Cut salary, including my salary, 20% cut. So you have to show them that you are prepared to take tough decisions, but at the same time, share the misery.
Please join me in thanking Mr. Liew for his most engaging and interesting talk once again.